Hi everyone, and welcome to the Strips roadmap presentation. Before we go into what's new, what's next, we want to take a couple of minutes to talk about the history. We started 8 years ago as part of an open innovation contest together with Inwido, one of Europe's largest window and door manufacturers. The challenge was clear, was in order to digitalize and connect our windows and doors. And presenting and pitching my idea to connect windows and doors, knowing if they're open and closed, people didn't even raise an eyebrow, because there are already today sold millions and millions of window and door sensors. It lets you know if the window is closed. It lets you know if there's an intrusion. It can also be part of an automation in smart home or smart building, where a door opening turns off the ventilation automatically. That can save both money and on the environment and the climate. So what was unique with our pitch and our idea? Well, first of all, it is the design. Today's design of window and door sensors, those that are sold in millions of units and installed in basically every fourth home in US and Europe, is that they are bulky. They're not good enough. They are visible. They are sometimes even wired. If they're wireless, they're even bigger. And for us, we don't believe that that's good enough for the consumer and the customers in today's world, and especially not going forward. Design is a key aspect of the Strips DNA. It's part of our sensitive DNA as well. And we made Strips so thin you can mount it invisibly in windows and doors. It's only 3 millimeters thin. And second of all, is that once we started mounting them in the windows and doors, placing them in a real environment, we quickly understood there's two new challenges. First of all, you have the maintenance. If you're placing window and door sensors that are extremely thin, they are specially designed, you have a unique battery technology for it. How are you going to replace the sensors or recharge them if the battery only lasts for 1 or 2 years? Because that is the standard today. Well, that's not possible. There's no business case or Excel sheet where you can actually crunch those numbers. You need to make the battery lifetime longer. So from day one, our target has been the 10 years battery lifetime. The reason is mainly for professional installers or the consumer that wants to be able to mount the sensors. And not only 1 or 2, we're talking about hundreds of them in a building. And once they are installed, the real cost is to change the batteries. So the battery means no maintenance. It means over 10 years, Strips is actually a very cost-efficient solution. But if you look at the pricing of Strips, of course you understand that Strips is not the cheapest product. It's not one of those million units that's sold today or variants that are on the market today. It's extremely unique. And not only the design, the no maintenance make it unique, it's also the highest quality of the product. We understood that placing it in windows and doors actually means that you have to endure both dust and moisture, because it's kind of an in-between indoor and outdoor environment. So as part of our sensitive DNA, being a high-tech company, we of course have put a lot of effort providing the highest quality and have tested the Strips over and over again. We've done it in, of course, the temperature chambers and all those fancy equipments, but as well the quality test in different kind of environments, with placing the Strips in the fridge, placing the Strips in the washing machine. It might sound like funny experiments, but what's the end goal? It's to provide the best sensors on the market for our customers. So our sensitive DNA can be summarized as such as a focus on the design, the no maintenance, the standard protocols is also key for us, and the multifunctional. Be able to reuse the same form factor for different functionalities and purposes. And by providing the best quality for our customers. I haven't yet talked about why standard protocols is important. Well, it's actually very, very simple. We looked at the market back in 2013. We especially looked at the security industry. They are the main customer group in the market and selling millions of units today. And they're selling those bulky and cheap devices and using a standard proprietary protocol. But the key thing that we think is the next big leap in IoT, in smart home, in smart building, is standardization, is horizontalization that we talk about every time. We think that our customers, it can be a service provider, an end customer, a real estate owner, they want to be able to use different protocols. They want to be able to reuse the infrastructure they have, the gateways they have, the devices they have for many different applications. That means that our sensors should be compatible with what's on the market today. And that is not possible with proprietary solutions. You need to be able to use the standard protocols. And looking at the market, so what's on the market when it comes to standard protocols? We have, of course, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which are great protocols. The mass volumes used in extremely many different use cases, but not very good if you're doing 10-year battery lifetime, slim design sensors like we do. So we chose Z-Wave for the smart home industry and LoRaWAN for the smart building industry. Those are our two main protocols when it comes to IoT sensors, because of their standardization, because of the market awareness, and also adaptation when it comes to the technology and the standard. On Z-Wave you can use the strips together with smart plugs, you can use it with blinds and controls, and we can just sum up with saying that it's highest compatibility on the market. Then you have the LoRaWAN that's been launched around 2015 but has an extremely high adoption rate and also growth on the market. With its 10 kilometers range, ease of use, and we really believed in LoRaWAN. But looking back in 2015, we didn't think that it was possible to make strips using the LoRaWAN protocol. But I understood quickly that this is changing quickly because of the market adoption and the high volume growth. So we took on the challenge to make strips. Same form factor, same height of the 3 millimeters thickness, 10-year battery lifetime. We don't nudge on. But using the LoRaWAN protocol, having the 10 kilometers range, being able to use one gateway with 100 sensors in one multi-dwelling unit without a problem. So, if you would talk about the sensitive DNA, it's a lot about technology and development. But being one of the founders of Sensitive, starting in 2013 with just an idea, talking about selling millions of window and door sensors, and also being able to show them how we were going to do it, our approach that's unique, our solution that is unique. The main challenge is to have the right people on board, get the right people on the bus. And in 2013, I teamed up with both Anders Heberg, who's one of the co-founders, and Mats Pettersson. And Mats Pettersson has a vast experience from the mobile industry, where they know how to make smaller and smaller devices, battery efficient, great range. So bringing in both his networking competence, we have been able to scale from just one idea into a company that's not only a hardware provider. We've gone from the idea phase in 2013, first prototype in 2014, being able to successfully launch and complete the Indiegogo campaign and crowdfunding campaign, delivering the first product in 2016, and scaling up from the first produced units to 100,000 units in 2020. There's not a lot of companies that can achieve this. In a fragmented technology landscape and market, we have proprietary protocols that is the standard today. It's really difficult to make this achievement, and I'm extremely grateful for the team that I have with me, because that's the core part of our DNA. The team comes from the mobile industry together with people from the IT industry, municipalities, and directly from the university here in Lund. It's a vast mix of experience and competences. And if you're looking at why and how Sensitive could develop the strip sensors. It's about the DNA, and we have the concept DNA that I have just explained, but in the core essence, it's about the experience from the mobile industry and the expertise we have in the team. Today we're 30 people in the team, very, very focused on the development and the technology. So working with our B2B customers, service providers, real estate owners, and much more, we're not only a hardware provider. That's not our end goal. It is to be the provider and partner to help you make both the IoT products and the solution and the business successful. So I'm very glad to have you here at Sense One Day to talk about the Strips roadmap, what's new for 2021, but also what's next. So I'm going to leave it over to Morgan, who's our technical sales, to go more into details about the products. But feel free to reach out to us with both questions, problems that can be solved with IoT, or even better, let's start something from here. Let's look at how IoT and our sensors can be part of the solution, and let us work together to actually make it happen.
Hello everyone, my name is Morgan Adolfsson. I'm one of the product owners for our Strips sensors and also a technical account manager, so I'm sure I've worked with a lot of you in the past. Today I'll be going over a little bit about our 2020 sensor development, our transition into the LoRaWAN family, and also what we've done as far as new product development going forward in 2021. So our 2020 roadmap was really based off of what we saw as a shift in where IoT was heading. We have a strong consumer background dealing with our Z-Wave products that have been sold to the consumer market primarily for the first few years that we were developing and selling sensors. So in 2020, we saw as a company that IoT was starting to be adopted very much so by B2B markets, by service providers. So we wanted to align ourselves with that market. So we decided LoRaWAN was the way to go. We developed our first LoRaWAN multi-sensors. We call this the Strips multi-sensor family. It consists of three products initially, which was our Plus Drip, Plus Guard, and Plus Comfort sensors. Eventually, about 2 or 3 months after our rollout of our first sensors, we developed a presence sensor in the same hardware platform. Plus Drip is a sensor that has been designed primarily for water leak detection. It can be used indoor and outdoor. Our Plus Guard sensor is also an indoor and outdoor device used for standard open-close sensor and monitoring doors and windows. And then we have our Plus Comfort sensor, which is our indoor sensor, measuring things like indoor air quality, air humidity, temperature, and light. We then developed our presence sensor, which is using an active IR sensor and monitoring desks and also monitoring valuables, for instance. So we've kept all the same USPs that we had before into our LoRaWAN sensors. Once we started to get into sales of the in the LoRaWAN market, we saw that our sensor, being one of the only well-designed aesthetically sensors for LoRaWAN, we saw real traction because most of these solutions from IoT and from LoRaWAN are becoming more popular, more seen by end customers, more seen in offices and buildings and real estates. So it's really cornering a part of the market that hasn't been filled well-designed sensors. These sensors are not only just good looking, but they're extremely configurable and extremely easy to use, just like we had in our Z-Wave devices. We come from a consumer background, so we're usually dealing with end customers who need to learn quickly and might not be the experts on how to operate these sensors. So we've kept that in mind when we do things. For instance, the configuration tool that we use. Our LoRaWAN sensors are configured through OTA, and via our installation app or configuration tool. Our configuration tool is a very easy step-by-step process that you can configure all of the values and functionalities of your sensor that you buy. It's a very easy 4-step process that generates a payload to configure the device when you're ready. Developing these LoRaWAN sensors have been very interesting for us. Again, we try to keep all of our USPs, so we put a lot of work into our battery lifetime. We understand that with LoRaWAN, the battery output can be configured how you wish. However, we've put a lot of work into making that even as more efficient than our previous devices. So we still can operate a 10-year plus battery lifetime. You can see this on our battery calculator that we have on our website. We understand one of the biggest benefits of LoRaWAN is its range. And even though we have a very tiny device, we've still been able to reach distances from 10 kilometers all the way up to 100 kilometers. We've had a lot of testing done by third parties who have tested our device almost to 100 kilometers in open air. So this feature of the LoRaWAN stack is still apparent in our small device. And we've seen that, especially in real estate environments, these devices can be used throughout a building with only one gateway set up in the deployment. So along with our multi-sensors that I just described, we also have a presence sensor. We understand now that desk occupancy and hot desk booking systems are really popular right now. So we've developed a presence sensor, which uses an active infrared to detect motion and presence on a desk, or we even have people using it to monitor valuable items, so asset tracking as well. So 2020 was mostly focused around developing our LoRaWAN sensors. They've now been on the market now for quite some time. So 2021 roadmap for us is going to involve the Z-Wave 700 series platform. We've already released now our drip and our guard sensors under the 700 series platform. They have the same functionality as our 500 series. Guard is a window and door sensor, open and close. It can be used indoor and outdoor. Drip is our temperature and water leak detection sensor, which can also be used indoor and outdoor. Now, if you don't know, we have a lot of benefits that are coming from this new 700 series, both chipset and stack provided by Scilabs. Mostly improved battery, which we love. So we had a little bit easier controlled battery lifetime in Z-Wave. So previously in the 500 series, we were able to achieve 10-year battery lifetime. That number has only gotten better in our 700 series, so we're really excited about that. Range has also been improved. Range is huge for us. As we move into B2B deployments, we understand that range is a huge factor in costs for deploying solutions, as far as hardware costs and coverage costs for service providers. So we really like to see that we can minimize that cost by increasing range a bit. We also have the addition of S2 security. So now all messages from the device to the gateway is encrypted and a lot more safe. We also have another feature called Smart Start, which we were really excited about. Again, as we start putting our focus more on B2B installations, high volume installations, we see that the handover to installers and system integrators are really important for us. We like to minimize setup costs, which is why we have such an easy to install sensor. But we also have the provisioning of the sensors into a network. And what Smart Start has done is basically made the installation and provisioning part of the installation process done by a QR code. So a simple scan of the QR code will enroll your sensor into your network and you're ready to go. Just install and walk away and you're good. So we will have the entire strips family deployed on the 700 series platform this year. We are releasing drip and guard already. So regarding our 700 series product line, we have taken our 500 series and sort of duplicated the functionality, but then put it on the 700 series platform and added all the benefits that platform gives us. The biggest change, however, is with our comfort device. In the past, it was a closed device used for indoor and outdoor, temperature and light. And we've added now a few things in the 700 series that really make it a lot different from our 500 series device. A few things that we've done is, first, we've added air humidity sensor. So we're actually going to be able to detect all those valuable things inside of an apartment or inside of a home. We've also added something called the plus switch. The plus switch is a manual trigger, you could say, on the device that'll act as almost like a switch, light switch, or an initiator switch, where we're able to initiate scenes with lights or with heating and air, what have you. The switch is a 1-0 on-off switch. We can use the plus switch to initiate scenes or trigger actions. Plus switch has been developed primarily for our Comfort 700 series product. However, we've added that functionality to all of our existing products, including our LoRaWAN products. We have a few examples of use cases where we can use switch and our LoRaWAN devices, such as our infrared sensor, our presence sensor, and also our remaining sensors on the LoRaWAN platform. So the plus switch was developed to have some sort of manual interaction with your sensor. A lot of the times the hardware doesn't give the option to have a manual interaction with the sensor. One of the best use cases we found for that is with our infrared sensor. During the pandemic, we of course did a lot of research and development on what sort of solutions can help the getting back into the office and staying safe and applying being in line with regulations set out by governments and so forth about desk cleanliness and just overall cleanliness. So what we did is we put the plus switch on our infrared sensor, and we developed a little bit of special software. Normally a presence sensor is going to detect if a space is occupied or not occupied. We've developed a software that basically gives you a third state, which is unoccupied and not cleaned or not disinfected. So the idea is that a tenant or a worker goes to his or her desk. The presence is detected. It sends a occupied message to the server. And then when the employee leaves, rather than saying vacant, you're actually going to get unoccupied but dirty status. This would prompt any technician or cleaning person in the office to disinfect the desk, and then using the plus switch, have a manual interaction that actually says the desk has been cleaned. Once the switch has been activated, your status will now report clean and unoccupied. So this is one of the examples of how a manual interaction on our sensors can make a huge difference and sort of open up the possibilities for a lot more use cases. So part of our development this year has been a lot on accessories. I went over the plus switch and the functionalities that can add to our sensors and to a solution. But then we also have something called a plus clip. Plus clip came from the idea that we had a lot of service providers and real estate owners who had a problem detecting mold, doing it wirelessly, especially doing it wirelessly. We found that through some of our sensors that have the capacitance sensor at the bottom of the device, we're able to measure the moisture in certain types of materials. That, combined with temperature and air humidity, really makes a valuable solution to detect mold early on in buildings, and especially behind walls or in roofs and stuff like this. The plus clip was originally designed to have for this use case, where you actually screw the clip into the wall or roofing, and then place the sensor so that the sensor's capacitance pad can detect moisture within the substrate, within the material. We've also found other uses for this. For an environment that you are switching the placements for the sensors often, we have plus clip so that the sensor can be easily removed and then placed somewhere else without having to use the adhesive that comes on the back of the device. So in our journey to discover more and more use cases with our B2B customers, we identified, along with some of our partners, a very interesting problem that we developed a very interesting solution for. We were approached by different utility companies who wanted to monitor basically inside of street cabinets, street metal cabinets, telcos, power and gas companies. However, as we all know in the wireless world, transmissions in and out of metal cabinets and any sort of metal enclosures is very, very difficult. We know that the solution is to mount external antennas. However, the available sensor setups, sensor hardwares, make that really, really difficult without a pretty lofty retrofit to existing cabinets and metal boxes. So we developed a solution that takes the advantage of our very, very small antenna. We have about a 12 millimeter long antenna in our devices. And we're able to create a solution that actually, with very, very, very minimal installation, is able to mount inside of a metal cabinet, where we can actually get the signal out through our through the top and through an encased cover. And we're able to monitor the environment inside of these metal cabinets. So a lot of times, overheating or too much moisture can be a difficulty and could cause a lot of problems, especially when you don't know where the problem is coming from. So we found that not only monitoring the inside of these cabinets is important, but we also have a lot of technicians going to these cabinets and working on them. And this allows us to monitor which cabinets are being opened, which cabinets see different changes. We're also able to, through a few different sensor capabilities, see when there could be some damage done to one of these boxes. So a little bit of predictive maintenance. This cabinet solution is very new. We have not seen anything like that. So we work along with our partners to deploy it and sort of conceptualize what sort of value it can bring to a company and to a customer. So we've been doing a lot of trials with this solution. So far it's been working great. But of course, if you take it and apply it to a much larger sort of use case, shipping containers, manhole covers, anything that previously had a lot of difficulty receiving and sending transmissions to and from. So that was a little bit of an overview of last year and our roadmap for this year. As you can see, we've certainly done a lot of development, a lot of working with different partners. Our sensors have such a wide range of features, and because of its design, we've seen that it's opening up so many different types of use cases. We love helping our customers develop these use cases together. And so we're certainly interested to hear about new use cases or existing ones that we can help with. Again, we're an IoT company first and foremost, so we love developing with our partners and finding solutions that work best for them. We have a lot on our roadmap this year. I'll be more than happy to offer more product details and also get you started with some samples and get your testing environment up and running. Again, we do help getting the entire solution up and running. We don't just leave it at at sensor sales, and that's it. So we're more than happy to extend our expertise to you and give you all the advice you need to get a solution up and running. So you can contact myself or anybody else here at Sensitive, and we'll get you sorted out.
So we've shown you what's new in 2021. With both our LoRaWAN products that's been launched in the market, our Z-Wave 700 series that we're extremely excited to launch, as well as our accessory program, because I think strips can be used for much more, and new applications that we can find together using accessory products. The switch is one great example and one of our greatest achievements here this year in order to extend the functionality of a sensor. We want to make it in a cost-efficient way for both us and our customers. Instead of inventing another sensor with another form factor for just one button, we're reusing the design. The sleek design acceptance factor where you can mount it invisibly on the wall, but using an IoT accessory product like the switch, making it to turn into a switch, a light switch, an action button, etc. And this is the way we work at Sensitive. Looking at the problem and the challenge and trying to find both a cost-efficient, high-quality, and simple solution. So what's next? What comes after the 700 series on strips? After the LoRaWAN sensors? For us at Sensitive, we're sticking to our design concept, meaning the blend-in design, meaning the no maintenance for sensors, the long-lasting battery lifetime, the high quality to endure both indoor and outdoor environments, and of course a rigorous testing process to make sure that we deliver the best products on the market. We're looking into adding more protocols because from the beginning we saw the possibility of using strips as a hardware platform, meaning being able to use different protocols. Z-Wave and LoRaWAN are the two main protocols for now, but we're looking into both Zigbee and other protocols that are increasing the market adoption and awareness. So adding more protocols is one part of it. And we're interested to hear from you which protocols are most important going ahead. Second of all is looking at the next generation design concept. And we've already decided on the design aspect. We know how it's going to look like. We know that we're going to focus on environmental sensor and functionality for especially the smart building area, but also going into the smart city area. And we're not going to give you more details on the next generation design concept right now, but we're going to keep you updated and share the news. And once again, in the way we're working at Sensitive, and this has been true from day one, collaborative and working together with our customers from day one, but also partners. We think that we can provide and develop the best sensors on the market. But usually we need to understand the problem, and the problem is usually the customer who knows the best. Let's work on this together, and let's make sure that we provide the best sensors for the next generation smart homes, smart buildings, and smart cities. Please reach out to us if you have any questions, comments, or if you would like to get things done. You can find our contact details here. We're here today to talk about the strips, but also what's next and about the future. Thank you for joining.